Hello, and welcome to the first year of WWE's ECW, the show where we take a look back at the first 52 episodes of WWE's re-envisioning of Extreme Championship Wrestling. We kick off episode 29 with a dramatic promo for tonight's main event match.
ECW original Rob Van Dam takes on champion Bobby Lashley.
I like how we've got this cinematic build to a match that was decided last week via a poll on ECW.com. Don't get me wrong, great main event, but what a terrible way to get there. We're kicking off the night with Andrew, aka Test, in the ring. Before his match with Sabu, Andrew has something he wants to get off his chest. Mainly the fact that last week he defeated both RVD and Sabu in the main event. But ultimately, that win didn't matter because the fans voted for their favourite Rob Van Dam to face Bobby Lashley this week. Tess says, when it comes to championship matches, it doesn't matter what you fans think. It doesn't matter who you vote for. Championship matches are made by wins, and I've got a hell of a lot of wins. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm the number one contender for the title, and tonight is just about making another impact. Sabu then makes his way down to the ring for our opening match of the night. It was a fairly even contest between these two, with Sabu using his high-flying aerial manoeuvres to try and wear down the big guy, and Test using his strength and size to his advantage against the smaller Sabu. Ultimately, Test gets the win when he catches Sabu with a huge big boot and then hits his finisher Test grade. I'm expecting to see Test in contention for the ECW title within the next month or so. He's built up a decent bit of momentum over the past couple of weeks, and I think the big man has earned it. Back in the ring, Burke and Turke are ready to take on FBI in a December to Dismember rematch that no one asked for. Always good to see the sexy Mamacita Trinity though, so there is that. Remember when I said this last week?
I'm failing to see how they could book Burke and Turke into an interesting storyline.
Well, it looks like they don't know what to do with these two, so they'll just keep putting them against the only other team on the roster. Little Guido and Tony Mamaluke get their asses handed to them in this match, having almost zero offense against the knockout and tap out connection. Turke hits a reverse chokeslam on Mamaluke and then locks in a submission. Mamaluke taps out immediately. Joey Styles informs us that next week CM Punk will once again take on Hardcore Holly. Backstage, Matt Striker says, let's review a maths lesson that Mr. Punk learned last time. 3 minutes plus Punk's Anaconda Vice is certainly less than Hardcore Holly. Holly then appears on screen and says to the camera, Punk, you are not getting it, are you? It's going to be the same lesson next week. You can't beat me, and you damn sure can't make me tap. Next, Tommy Dreamer cuts a brilliant promo about his current rivalry with Daivari and the Great Khali. Over the past couple of weeks, Tommy has taken several nasty chokeslams from the Great Khali. Tommy says, why do I continue to put my body to the point where I don't know if I'm going to get up again? The answer is simple. That's who I am. That's what I'm about. Great Khali, I want you to know that I'm not going to stop coming for you, and I'm going to keep chopping you down until you fall like the damn redwood tree that you are. Death wish? No. That's just what I do. The world's most awkward interviewer, Rebecca, is backstage with Rob Van Dam ahead of his match for the ECW World title. Rob thanks Bobby for not only putting the ECW title up tonight, but for getting rid of the Big Show and Paul Heyman, who denied him of his opportunity at the title for so long. Rob then says, thank you to all the people that made this possible and voted for me in the ECW.com poll last week. Now I do my part and bring the ECW title back home where it belongs with Rob Van Dam. For our next match, guest commentator Brad Armstrong is back to bicker with Taz again. Resident ECW bloodsuckers Kevin Thorn and Ariel make their way down to the ring. Tonight, Thorn is taking on Balls Mahoney. By the time Thorn and Mahoney's entrances are done, Taz and Armstrong have made about 100 digs and snide remarks at each other, and this continues into the match, which, like I said last week, is rather distracting. They also go on a tangent about how referee Scott Armstrong is Brad's brother. I literally don't give a fuck. Thorn controls the majority of this match and quickly puts a stop to any attempt at a comeback from Captain Caveman. This match ends abruptly when Thorn hits Balls with an elbow, which rocks Mahoney's jaw and knocks a tooth out. You can see Balls tell the referee and Thorn that he's hurt and can't continue. Thorn then pins him and Scott Armstrong throws up the X after the match. I found this article on WrestlingIncorporated.com in which Mahoney explained more about the incident on the Wrestle News Source podcast. Supposedly, Balls thought that Thorn worked too stiff in the match. In his words, he beat the fuck out of me. I mean physically beat the shit out of me. Mahoney said that even Scott Armstrong was concerned about Thorn's aggressiveness in the match. You know Scott Armstrong, Brad's brother? Mahoney found Thorn backstage after the match and went mad at him, but refrained from fighting him for fear of losing his job with the company. Backstage, Rebecca gets the champion Bobby Lashley's thoughts before the main event. Lashley says, "I know Rob Van Dam and I respect his ability. However, RVD will not take this title away from me. I know he's going to be gunning for this title with everything he has, but I'm going into this match ECW World Champion and I am leaving ECW World Champion." Back to the arena where Taz is in amongst the crowd about to interview Russian mixed martial artist and Sambo champion Vladimir Kozlov. Taz asks what Vladimir Kozlov thinks of the ECW brand. Kozlov says that he likes the ECW style very much. Taz then asks Kozlov about his thoughts on the upcoming main event match between Lashley and Van Dam. Kozlov replies that he can beat both of them. Finally, Taz thanks Kozlov for his time and asks, "Is there anything else you'd like to say?" To which Kozlov replies,
"I love WWE! I love WWE!"
Right then, moving on. It's main event time, folks. Fan favourite Rob Van Dam is taking on Bobby Lashley for the ECW World title. This was an entertaining match between these two, with some decent moves from both and a fair amount of offense shared. For the second week in a row, we get another weird ending to the episode. It all starts when things spill to the outside later on in the match. Rob Van Dam places Lashley on the announce table. Van Dam then hits a move off of the ropes onto Lashley. The referee throws up the X sign and the match is called off. I tried to find out more about this ending, like if either Lashley or Van Dam was legitimately injured, but couldn't seem to find anything on it. And without spoiling too much for you, all I will say is both men wrestle next week, which would lead me to believe that this was a work. I've not got a great deal to say about this episode. Not that much progressed in terms of storylines, and the ending to the main event was a wet fart on top of an otherwise good match. I'll give episode 29 2 out of 5 stars. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.